The first step, if a brand wanted to get started in this type of creator-led experience, would be to start developing those relationships, right? Are creators generally pretty open to this idea? Do they eat it up? Are they a little skeptical about it? And are they just earning commissions?
It starts with finding the right creators. Creators that add a lot of value tend to be very aligned with the brand. There's typically trust on both sides, and the incentives are typically aligned, meaning that whether or not it's a fully commissioned model, there should be some kind of variable component that gets both people excited about the same thing. So I just think picking your creator starts with having some of those first principles and making sure you've got a lot of alignment with your, the people that you're partnering with. Let's assume that you do have good creators that you've got some alignment with, and they're good partners for the brand. What we've found is the creators are exceptionally excited and very, very passionate about this shopping experience because they know this is going to lead to more conversions. It's ultimately going to drive, more money with them. Creators are smart. And so they also understand that having commission and variable components of a partnership literally will make them more money. A brand, if you reduce the brand's risk, they are willing to pay you more. So I think creators understand all those things. And if you have aligned creators, they understand that some kind of e-com led experience, whether it's our tool or someone else's tool, is going to drive more conversions. It's going to make them more money. And then we've had creators get that very, very quickly and become very, very passionate in terms of, wanting to drive value out of their storefronts and providing feedback and asking for customizations. An aligned creator is going to be very excited about this, and they're going to work very, very, very hard to make sure it's an experience that they love.
Yeah, I agree that alignment is super, super crucial. I mean, it has to be in line with your brand. Their values need to be in line with your brand, and they actually have to be excited about what it is that they're creating content for, right? I know a lot of brands out there are probably thinking, man, I would love to work with these creators on a commission-only basis. But to add to what you said, I think there has to be some give and take there, right? Because it's not, and I've heard many brands say this, other podcast hosts talk about this really recently, like, this is changing the game. Brands are only going to pay commission on affiliate sales. They're going to treat influencers just like affiliates. And that got me thinking, like, well, that's pretty cool, but it's super one-sided, right? I mean, why would you ask a creator to put all of their time and resources on the line to hopefully move product for you? Like, they got to eat too. I think what you're saying is like some sort of like flat fee or upfront, payment to the creator, and then a variable earning model on top of that.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of really important concepts, and I'll introduce one more concept. I like to say, brands got to figure out their creator market fit, which is, what creators are you going to be able to work with in a model that scales, and how are you going to be able to scale them, and what's that model going to be? So once we figure out, every brand's got to understand their creator market fit is going to be a little bit different. That said, all the concepts that you just talked about are really important. Creators are going to be able to work more if the model was 100% variable, because, brands are the ones that are ultimately, creating that demand, and they would pay more if, there was no risk associated with it. They would literally be able to pay more per transaction if there was no risk associated with it. So obviously the brand wants a variable model, and in theory, that would be better for getting all creators paid more. Now, the reality is, creators work very, very hard, to kind of build their audiences and kind of build their value. And they've got an inventory, right? They can't put out 25,000 pieces of content every single day. They've got an inventory, and they've got expectations for what their finances are going to be. And if you move to a completely variable model, that creates, an unacceptable amount of risk for the creator. So, there's an equilibrium that every brand needs to kind of figure out for themselves. A brand would prefer a entirely variable model, which gets everybody paid the most, but that creates an unacceptable amount of risk for the creator. Everybody's going to kind of find their balance, and typically it's a pretty simple formula. If you're a larger creator, you're going to be a little bit closer to, you're getting a larger flat fee. If you're a smaller creator, you're going to be more excited about variable, because that's kind of the audience that you've built at this point.